Jayan, and very good afternoon to all the enthusiastic young cadets, students, and the future of this nation who are assembled here today. I was not expecting such a precision military drill and conduct and bearing. Mind you, I have seen many such events. Certainly, I have to compliment for ODISHA Medical Company, NCC, and all its cadets for this outstanding conduct which the military is proud of. I saw this theme talk which Major Samir was very gracious to sort of tell me that we would like you to talk to our boys, to talk about, take us through your journey in the armed forces. Personally, it is a very moving moment for me today to stand here at my alma mater, where I completed my internship in December 1983. It's 40 years since I left this institution, and today, after 40 years, I'm back. Huge amount of nostalgia and great happiness to see the amount of changes that have taken place in this institution. I came last night, I have not yet got my bearings. It's a matter of personally very humbling to stand in this auditorium which was not existing when I was in college. Excellent infrastructure and facility. More than the journey of a combat healer, what I would like to share is the organization which gave me that opportunity to excel. An institution respected by all in this country and the world over, the Indian Armed Forces. We live in a world which has changed since the 1980s. I mean, my time, it's hugely changed. There's huge amount of corporatization of activities. Healthcare is also now commodified as a service to be provided at costs, revenue concerns. So, what was this need? And that often is there that dilemma in the mind of the youth, where to go, how to join. I would like to share my thoughts and feelings about the Indian Armed Forces. The one basic thing about the Indian Armed Forces is we don't do a job, we do a duty. There's a difference between the two. Job is doing what is required. Job is doing what is required. The requirement may not always be right, may not always be legal, may not always be ethical. But yes, it is also right, it is also legal, it is also ethical. But the armed forces, what we do is a duty. And duty is doing it right, the first time and every time. There might be a moral debate about what is right today, which may not be right tomorrow, and what was right yesterday may not be right today. Times change. But the essence of the foundational values of the armed forces is that we do a duty. That is, we do what is right. There's a great feeling in the heart that you are not compelled to do what is required. And that environment possibly can only be given in an institution that fosters the spirit. It may not be a value for many other institutions and organizations. For a moment, don't think that I am trying to belittle any institution or organization. Every institution or organization has its merit, it has its place. Nothing in this world is out of place. Everything has its time and place and its importance. But the nature of service is duty. Yes, you say nursing, night duty, to do what is right. But what are you doing, sir? I am doing a job in this company. There's a difference. In the armed forces, it is always duty. And that duty comes from a mindset of complying to certain rules and regulations, that your actions are always appropriate. What in simple language is discipline. In the armed forces, we are trained to be disciplined. It might be seen, trivialized कि क्या यार हर टाइम सावधान वर्क करते हैं, विश्राम करते हैं, खड़े हो जाते करके. No, it is a conditioning of the mind, and to have control over our actions, that we are always right. Discipline is very important. And that conditioning of the mind to do things right, please remember, is to do it when you are not being observed. It's so easy to do things right when you are being observed. To do it right when the red light is on, in the middle of the night, there is no traffic, and yet you stop and wait for the light to become green. That is discipline. It might be said, पागल आदमी है, बेवकूफ है, कोई ट्रैफिक नहीं है, रात को कोई देख भी नहीं रहा है, पुलिस भी नहीं देख रहा है. But that is the value system of the armed forces, that discipline is the bedrock. मेरे कोई देख रहा है, नहीं देख रहा है, I have to do it right. But then that becomes a way of life. By the end of it, we are like that. It is very natural. There may be an element of streak of rebelliousness in all the youth. It must be there. The youth cannot behave like me. If all of us started behaving like Swami Vivekananda, this world would be a very boring place. But as I said, to do things right and to be disciplined. There's some more cherished things in the armed forces. Integrity. It may not be understood. What is integrity? Integrity, that I have the confidence that Major Sameer ka integrity, I have no doubts about it. ये आदमी जो करेगा सच करेगा. That he will be truthful no matter the pressure or the adversity on him. And coupled with integrity is something we call loyalty. That is unquestioned acceptance of certain system. Loyalty, possibly with, as you grow in your years, you will understand, it does not mean to your superior or anything. By the time you realize it is to the nation, and in the nation it's something of an amorphous thing. Nation kya hai? Maybe it will crystallize down to something called a constitution. We are not so well aware about what is this constitution. We hear it, कुछ एक SOP है इस देश चलाने के लिए. So loyalty is to the constitution, to the nation. And in armed forces we say integrity and loyalty या तो है या नहीं है. There are no intermediate shades. ये थोड़ा सा disloyal है. इसकी integrity थोड़ा सा कम है. No. है या नहीं है. These are the values that the armed forces builds in you, creeps in it, seeps in. But can an organization just with all this nuskas excel as the Indian Armed Forces do? No way. Professionalism is a great aspect that is focused upon. The medical fraternity will understand what is professionalism. What is a profession? A profession is a kind of a body of knowledge in a person who is certified and licensed or registered to practice something, and that registration is required to be renewed repeatedly on the basis that he has made professional growth, making it simple by attending CMEs, doing more training and all that. You'll be surprised at the amount of training that the armed forces does. One reason for me to join the armed forces is padhai vade karna ki zarurat nahi padega. I did 12 trainings, out of which 8 were medical and 4 were on managerial aspects, including one training of almost 8 months in the USA. Is it possible that we will get knowledge, skills without training? And it just you do your BSc nursing or MLT or MBBS and that's it? Ban gaye hum sab kuch? It will never happen that way. And the armed forces ensure that every stages in your growth, you are trained further. You think, yaar, main to sab kuch pad liya tha. Every day, yaar, look at this. This is something I didn't know. And all that training is adding into you a desire for excellence. A desire to deliver more than the scope of the requirement. आपसे जितना उम्मीद थी, आप उससे ज़्यादा दिए. That is what we call effectivity. Efficiency जितना दिया उतना ही कर दिया आपने नहीं. All these value systems, that professionalism and this training puts into you one more quality, that is the strive for excellence. यार दिखाना है. No matter क्या resource है नहीं है, साधन है नहीं है, कोई चिकचिकबाजी नहीं, कुछ नहीं. साधन नहीं है तो देश के पास नहीं है. तो ये नहीं कह सकता हूँ कि नहीं है तो मैं नहीं करूँगा. घर में नहीं है. But then, that discipline, that commitment, that integrity gets you to exceed expectations of the public, and that is how that respect comes. The respect, why should anyone respect you if you don't mean anything? That these guys will deliver. No matter the adversity, no matter the scarcity, no matter the uncertainty of the circumstances. One more aspect of the armed forces is camaraderie. छोड़ना नहीं है साथी को. You'll understand when I say that tomorrow if there is a company of 100 men with a company commander and one of the platoons of 30, I'm sure you cadets will understand what is a section, what is a platoon, what is a company. A platoon of 30 will go, are given the task, be attack पे जाओ, उसको capture करना है. 30 बंदे ने राशन ले लिया, गोली ले लिया, अभी अटैक करना है. And heart of heart they know some of them will not come back. Heart of heart they know that some of them might lose their eyes, their hand, their legs. And yet they go in. The armed forces don't want to die like anybody else, but they are willing to die. We all die. Everyone dies. On the streets, accident, chhat gir gaya, phisal gaya. Nobody wants to die. Why should you die? But yes, there is a requirement. The armed forces, those 30 men know that some of us will not come back. And yet they go in. ये नहीं बोला सर मैं नहीं जाऊँगा. घर में मेरे बच्चे हैं. मम्मी सर बीमार है. बेटे की शादी करनी है. Can you think of that? He is not a corporate employee earning crores of salary. He doesn't have those kind of to fall back upon. His family, we don't know. I mean, he doesn't know what's going to happen to his family. So how does it happen? Why does the soldier want to do all this? Why does his officer is ready? And if you've seen The statistics reveal a trend, alarming, but yet a reverential trend, that the casualties among the officers in the Indian Armed Forces is, as compared to the men, is much more as compared to the other countries of the world. Because here, our officers lead from the front. Commanding officers leading men from the front. And you think the men will not want to go across? सियो सब आगे निकल रहा है गोली खाने के लिए. The camaraderie does not extend to just the colleagues. The camaraderie is a lifetime commitment. When I come here and Samir, we have never met. I am not his boss. He doesn't have to do all this. I couldn't have given him a displeasure. But that is the kind of gene that he has developed, that he sees armed forces personnel, he will put in his respectful behavior. How heartwarming is this? And why shouldn't I feel proud of the armed forces? I come from that organization. This bonding is for a life. It doesn't end with the colleague. It also ends for the families. The corporate world has its balance sheets, profit and losses. Sometimes they may incur losses. A-team is incurring losses. Baiju is incurring losses, hoping to recover in the next quarter. They may be able to do it. The balance sheet of the armed forces, the quarters are riddled with martyrs and widows. Please remember, these losses cannot be made up in the next quarter. These losses are not acceptable. So that is this organization. Huge amount of empathy. It's a great character for soldiers that we have empathy, to internalize the feeling of others. If you can't feel for a countryman, you cannot be selfless. Sympathy is lip service. Empathy is what a soldier has for his countrymen, for his colleague, to internalize the feelings of the others. Remorse is another quality which you might be surprised that we soldiers have. The feeling to feel bad when things go wrong and to be able to get out of it and do it again. Those martyrs, their children, their family is taken care for life. The soldier dies with that firm understanding that the Indian Armed Forces will take care of what he leaves behind unfinished in his family. So, I'm a doctor. How do I fit into all this? Company attack. I'm a doctor. What do I do? What is the need for me? The Indian Army is the instrument of, the most potent instrument of national power of this country. And that national power cannot be undermined. One of the ways that the national power can be undermined is by ill health, mortality, morbidity. The fighting potential of the Indian Army can be severely degraded if there is sickness, if there is casualties, people are dying, if people cannot be healed and put back on the battlefield, that Indian Army will fail. The Armed Forces Medical Services have the onerous and sacred responsibility to ensure that the combat potential of this great army is never undermined. The soldier knows कि डॉक्टर साहब जो पीछे है मेरे को बचा लेगा, मेरे को मौत के मुंह से खींच कर निकाल देगा. So, do we do anything different? Can the doctors, the paramedical, the nurses who are there, untrained, not trained like the armed forces, can they deliver what we do on the battlefield? It will be hard to imagine what is the battlefield. Thankfully, we have no wars these days. The spectrum of war ranges from low intensity conflicts to nuclear war. So when there is a battle, most of the operations are done at night. दिन के टाइम में करेंगे तो दुश्मन देख लेगा. There is no light. You don't have generators. तो करोगे ना, आवाज आएगी तो एनिमी का लोकेटिंग राडार्स करके वहां पे ठोक देंगे आपको. Radio silence, because the enemy is monitoring your radio waves. And under those circumstances, in those forward echelons of the battlefield, soldiers are getting hit by mines and bullets. There are no CT scanners to the civil. The trauma that we see in the armed forces, massive amount, is penetrating trauma, polytrauma. And you might think that definitive surgery will save lives. Definitive surgery is about anatomical repair. Under those circumstances of polytrauma, catastrophic hemorrhage, the aberrations are in the physiology of the human body. So the repair has to be first of the physiological part that kills a patient. And in those circumstances, when there has been massive hemorrhage due to polytrauma, we have a deathly physiological triad, which is hypothermia, coagulopathy, and lactic acidosis. So what is done is there is something we call a damage control surgery and damage control resuscitation. Anatomical repair is not attempted on the battlefield. ABC is no way you can handle. You will do jaw thrust, chin forward, jaw thrust, tilt, mouth to mouth. There is no way. Just turn his neck. He starts breathing fine. Put in if there is a pneumothorax, put in a needle. If he is done, fine. Stop that bleeding first. That hemorrhage, that compressible hemorrhage has to be stopped. So damage control surgery and damage control resuscitation under those circumstances in the forward areas, before the patient reaches a hospital, and we don't know how long he's going to be there, whether the weather is going to be bad in the heights of the CHN, or the enemy interferences will prevent his rearward evacuation. And on all this thing, the soldier is saying, मेरे को डॉक्टर साहब पास पहुंचा दो, मैं बच जाऊंगा. Imagine the kind of burden we have, the medical services, to live up to this enormous faith that the Indian Army soldiers have on us. It's not at all an easy thing. In the Kashmir Valley, where you hear everyday casualties happening, when a soldier is hit, be of the army or the CRPF or of the paramilitary force, they only say कि sir हमको 92 base hospital में पहुंचा दीजिए. 92 base hospital is our premier hospital in Srinagar, and Major Sameer, the OCNCC, is privileged to have undergone his internship training there. Finest of the hospitals, where a soldier just wants to reach because he knows no matter what has happened, no matter what injury, he will survive. And that is the faith that the armed forces brings onto the table to ensure that the combat potential of this army is not undermined. How do we do it? We have the doctors, we have the nurses, we have the paramedical staff, and all of us could be deployed, trained for all this, deployed in field area, extreme high altitude area, in the heights of CHN, in the blazing deserts of Rajasthan, in the jungles of the northeast, even overseas, in the UN missions, Maldives, Malay, wherever you name it, we are all there. Our system is highly regionalized with an excellent system of referral. Our We have doctors with the battalions, which is something like the primary health center. Then it goes up to a referral point called the forward surgical center, then goes to the hospital, which ends up in certain tertiary and quaternary care facilities like our command hospitals, the Army Hospital in Delhi, which is a tertiary super specialty hospital. It has no general specialty. It does not have medicine department, doesn't have surgery department, it doesn't have pediatric department, it doesn't have gynae department. It has only liver transplant, renal transplant, bone marrow transplant, gynecological oncology, IVF. There is no dermatology, no psychiatry. So that is the apex center. That center possibly performs some of the largest number of cadaveric transplants of liver. Why? From where did those liver come? The highest number of volunteers for organ donation in this country are soldiers. Every soldier is ready, sir. हो गया तो मेरा अंग और किसी का काम में आ जाना चाहिए. His family is also committed to that spirit. It's a different matter whether those organs can only be retrieved if there's a brain dead or certain other situations. But that is the kind of ethos with which the soldiers have grown up, that they are ready. ये लाइफ में अगर कुछ काम आ गए तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, नहीं तो फिर अगले लाइफ में हमारी ऑर्गन और कहीं काम आ जाएगी. We have Army Institute of Cardiothoracic Sciences exclusively for heart and lung diseases. We have Spinal Injury Center, one of the finest in the world. That Spinal Injury Center, I mean 30-40 years, it has never had a bed sore. Not a single case of bed sore. Amazing statistics. You might say I'm pulling off a fast one. In Karki, you might like to go there. Like a clockwork drill, every half an hour the bodies they are rolled. We have a paraplegic center where we take care of all those paraplegics who lose their limb for their life. Who will take care like this? And that has been the journey of this VSS MC student. There was no one from my family in the armed forces. And I did not know anyone in the army. This journey has been amazing and I am so blessed. People say कि यार ये तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, सैलरी कितना देता है? Well, for the doctors, if there are doctors here, it doesn't pay you much. It doesn't pay you much. The armed forces are good paymasters for the nurses, for the others. But what it pays you is enough to meet your needs and little more than that. It may not be enough to feed your greed. We are trained with क्या greed ले करना क्या है? एक घड़ी चाहिए, काम हो गया, घड़ी है तो अभी greed है नहीं, एक काला चाहिए और एक सफेद चाहिए. And that is greed. Armed forces is not. They cannot give you that. And now we have a next category with this social movement of breed. नहीं, वो नहीं, दो घड़ी नहीं, मेरे को एक राडो चाहिए. Armed forces cannot give you that. घड़ी मिल जाएगी आपको, बहुत सही टाइम होगा सब, और हर वक्त फौजी आदमी 5 मिनट पहले पहुंचेगा. राडो घड़ी से टाइम पे शायद नहीं भी आते होंगे. So salary to begin with, comfortable. But is salary everything in life? What about esteem, honor, quality of life? Those skills that you acquire, leadership. We have no bosses in the army. Boss is one word we hate. Boss is something जो आपके ऊपर कोई थोप दिया गया, आप उसका शक्ल नहीं देखना चाहते हो. यार सुबह से उठ के उसका शक्ल देखना पड़ेगा, पता नहीं कब जाएगा यहाँ से. I would hate to be a boss. So how do you become a leader? Is it easy? No. Leadership is an attribute. Some of our blessed, natural abilities we have. Some of us acquire it. And the armed forces ensure that all of us require. So leader, please understand, leader does not mean an officer, leader does not mean a general, leader could be that sipahi. It is certain qualities. To be able to influence others, to get them to do something that you want, and a successful leader is one where the followers want to be with the leader even in the next. Sir, aap jahan jayenge, humko wahan le jana. Nothing can be more pleasing to hear than that. The armed forces trains you for that leader. So that these abstract things of leadership, honesty, integrity, professionalism, camaraderie are more priceless than money, and money they will take care of you. They will take care of you for life. They will take care of your family. They provide for good schools, excellent medical college. The FMC is one of the finest in the country. Many excellent nursing colleges, management institutions, law colleges, dental colleges. The armed forces has everything. They provide an excellent healthcare system even after retirement. One thing today is that quality of healthcare when one should be able to get, and the armed force takes over. So the cost to company that we say in the armed forces is priceless. As soldiers, as doctors, it is not as if we were just sitting in a hospital doing things. It's a great pride that I have to say that we don't have a Paramveer Chakra from the medical services, but we have 3 Mahavir Chakras. Doctors, 21 Veer Chakras, that is gallantry on the face of enemy during war. 3 Mahavir Chakras, 21 Veer Chakras, and a lot of them were posthumous. We have 1 Ashok Chakra, which is the highest gallantry award in peacetime. Laishram Singh, Major Laishram Singh, he fought the terrorists in Afghanistan barehanded. He passed away, he became a martyr. We have got 1 Ashok Chakra, we got 4 Kirti Chakras, and one of them, if you recall, on this Republic Day parade, Kirti Chakra was awarded to Ayushman, that doctor, young doctor, who in Siachen, when there was a fire, went inside and saved many soldiers. In the process, he got burned and he lost his life. He could have stayed out, मैं डॉक्टर हूँ, मेरे को क्या करना, कोई करेगा दूसरा काम आदमी. He never thought of his family, his mother, father and all that. 4 Kirti Chakras, 7 Shaurya Chakras. So we, beyond doctors, nurses and paramedicals, we are gallant soldiers, very proud of that. We also have 4 Padma Shris and 4 Padma Bhushans. What a heritage! 250 years plus of history. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my journey in this environment, and today I am so blessed and rich with such qualities and such sentiments in my heart, and money makes no meaning for me. But then, is it easy? Sorry. Excellence doesn't come by accident. Excellence comes by devotion, hard work, and plenty of work in your private time at the cost of your comfort. If you think that excellence will not come, it will be at the cost of your personal time, personal comfort. And that is when you can exceed expectations. If family नहीं है, मैं तो जाऊँगा नहीं वहाँ पे posting घर में है, you will never achieve excellence. I'm not belittling what others do. excellence will come at cost of personal comfort. So does his family feel bad about it? यार ये तो फादर तो काम ही करता रहता, बाहर गया हुआ है, आया नहीं. The child grows up with a sense of feeling कि what is commitment, what is nationalism, what is patriotism, what is commitment to the country. The children of the armed forces personnel are in the top. Whether you see in the media industry, half your television anchors are children of the armed forces. Half of your beauty queens are children of armed forces. Half of your corporate honchos are children of armed forces. So if they were all moving all over the country and the life was unsettled and schooling was disrupted, how come they excelled? I will only give it that credit to one thing. So the families of the armed forces, like the ladies, the wives, and these great institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been a wonderful journey through this institution organization, and the idea was to share with you what a great institution we went through. I assume that since you are cadets, you have inclination for this life. Trust me, nothing can be more enriching than the armed forces services. I've said enough. A retired soldier, a very proud soldier, to be able to come back to VSS Medical College and talk. Who reached the highest echelons without any kind of it happened. It can happen. If it happened with me, it can happen with any of you. I'll end my talk with this. I wish you all the best, and in whatever you do, you don't have to join the armed forces. Even the man on the street who's sweeping the roads also contributes to this nation, so don't take it that way. But I wish you the very best in whatever you do. Godspeed. Jai Hind.